Okay, sorry. Slip this on there. So this is our first fitting. This is where we want to check to make sure we've got our balance sitting well. We want to check it through the neck. First, make sure we get the sitting up nicely on both sides. That's good. Just stand normally. Just stand like nice and natural. Relax into it. Don't force your posture. First thing I want to see is to make sure that the coat is hanging level with the floor on the back. That's not either riding up. And also feel into the waist to make sure it's not loose in there, that there's not too much cloth. And if there is, I want to push it up to the back here. I like my coats to sit in nicely close back here. We've discussed before, and you've said that you've liked the more the British draped back, so that's what we're really going to have focus on now, is trying to create that. Me and Andrew have decided that because he has both good development on the front and the back, that we could go with sort of clean through the front with just a little bit of back drape, just to give a bit more shape there, with a nice low waist to create a little bit of a run into our chest at the front here.
Good development, is that a euphemism for something?
Not exactly. More proportionate. As I said before, I always cut my coats with a little bit more on the front edge. It leaves it easier. I think it makes the fitting easier for me if the coat's a little bit bigger. Clients typically gain weight rather than lose weight. So by adding an extra half an inch onto the front edge, it's a better idea. If you go into the fitting and it's a little bit loose, then it's too close. Because when it's too close, then some clients can get upset.
Right.
You know, they're like, oh my god, have I gained this much weight? What's going wrong? You know. So you just give it a little bit more there.
It's easier to whittle away the cloth than to put it on.
Yeah, and plus it's easier to see it as well. If something's very tight, it's hard to see where it's tight. But if you just make it just that, you know, I'll maybe recommend. So I can see it here. I really want to just pick up these shoulders here and take. I've got the drape I want developing at the side, but I don't want it collapsing. I don't want the armhole pushing it down and collapsing, because it's going to create a ruffle coming up from under the arm here and underneath the arm,
which some people find desirable.
Yeah, right. I don't like it though.
Yeah.
So I like my back drape to go through the back, not down through the shoulders as well. It's not my gig. Yeah. So I don't use a lot of pins. I'm not the type of tailor that starts pulling it and like pinning it in. I just lift it and chalk it. You don't really want to damage the cloth either by putting a lot of pins in there. And also it doesn't sit the same. You know, once a pin goes into it, it alters it.
Right.
You just need to use your eye and decide how much you're going to take out of it. So I just want to take it just a little bit out of just between the blades here. So I'm going to just reduce down my cross back. I'm also going to pick up, drop the armhole at the back and take it off the end of the shoulders just to pick it up a little bit. I'm also going to hollow out and drop down the armhole same amount. So I'm only just moving the armhole down, and now I'm bringing the coat up.
Okay. There's a learned zen to standing naturally for an extended period. I have not yet learned. The longer I stand here, the less natural I am.
When I come to taking in, I'm just going to take in the waist here. I want to give it a little bit more shape. Now I've decided on my front balance and my back balance and my cross back, I'm going to come down to my waist position. And I want to hit this a little bit more tapered here. Whenever I take in my waist, I always take it off the sides. But if I'm pinning it, which you can't, it was just advisable to pin the waist for the clients so they can feel that. That's the only real place that I use a pin, is to close the coat and pull in the waist. I don't take it out of here, I take it off my sides, but I just pin it here so it feels more natural. And you can decide then how much more room, how does that feel then? You know, for you, do you think there's enough?
Oh yeah,
enough space in there.
Definitely.
That's so much.
How much do you recommend to someone who doesn't know, like what?
I mean, that's what this is what I do. I pin a little bit out of it. I lift the front of it and I check. I think that feels about right. and then they ask the client, and then they say how they feel about it.
I read once 2 inches is a good sort of rule of thumb, and that's always felt about
Yeah,
right to
that's
me.
about right. Yeah, that's what we work into it. Yeah, too good. Well, you can see here we've got it sitting nicely, good coverage on our vents. This is precisely where we want it. 1 seam in behind our thread marks. And then the same on this side as well. Excellent. We've got it in the chest. We just came out a little bit bigger on our waist, and we need a little bit more front balance just to drop it down here, particularly on this side. And this should see us through now to the next
Front balance meaning more cloth on the front.
Yeah, just through the front of the armhole here.
Mm-hmm.
Just as it's been sitting on you, you can sort of see the sort of sending it right up onto the chest, and then when you drop down to the hem level, you can see that the hem of the coat looks like it's riding up onto the front, even though the hem of the coat is longer at the front, because the hem of the coat is cut at a forward angle.
It falls into you.
Yeah, so that's what to allow for the chest. So when the coat goes over the chest, it's actually going to lift it up because it's going over or around.
Right.
To make it look visually level with the floor. Yours isn't.
Right.
So that means that it's too short. So we've got to drop it down through the shoulders to give it that extra length. Yeah.
So you would never consider like tinkering around with the hem of it, because that's not where it's
That's
at.
not where the problem is.
Yeah.
It's all been held up here in the front. Because your chest is holding it up. You know, and it's like you can't. It's quite difficult to measure for that.
Right.
And this is why we have the fitting. We've cut our patterns. We've used our system, but we need this fitting now to decide what the alterations are going to be. And these are the type of alterations that really can't be made when the garment's finished. You can't really start dropping the front balance of the coat after the facings have gone on, the collar's going to get longer, you're going to start changing all the details. Right. So this is why we're at this stage, and this is where it's quite an important, very important point. Particularly for the first suit, I'm not expecting it to be a one-shot suit, I'm not even one cut. I'll take my fittings, I take my time, I get my pattern right, and then when the client comes back to get his next suit, then it's one fitting, and we finish the suit, and we have a check fitting, maybe a small alteration usually on the cuff, and that's your suit.
Seems like you got the cuffs pretty bang on.
Yeah, they're pretty close. So I measure up from the bottom of the thumb. It just needs to be shortened. Okay, sir.
All right.